about 8 shots go off in an apartment. I don't know the number. About 3 girls, or at least more than one girl screaming. And then there was nothing. And then I heard about 3 more shots go off. I heard screams. I heard it right when it was happening. I was walking right by it.
Horrible, beyond imagination and comprehension. Tragedy occurred in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Beautiful place, by the way. A family of 3 young Muslims shot dead. 23-year-old Dia Shadi Barakat, Yusa Muhammad Abu Salah, 21, her sister Razan Muhammad Abu Salah, 19. I mean, kids, really. 46-year-old Craig Stephen Hicks, he's been arrested. Well, I mean, he gave himself in. Is it an anti-Muslim hate crime? He describes himself, Hicks, on his Facebook page as an atheist who condemns all religion, including Christianity and Islam. It could have been over parking, for all we know. I mean, it's hard to believe, but Alishba Zamin is an ex-Muslim, and she'll correct me if I'm wrong, secular activist. Will that do?
Sure, yeah, I'm from a Muslim background. I wouldn't say I would ever consider myself as being particularly religious, because I was always on the rational side of things, just
well,
like
I'm
my
rational,
dad.
I'm religious.
Well, about religion too. Yeah.
I was on radio this morning and on a panel, and I think the initial reaction was, this was specifically about Muslims being victims. It could well be that this lunatic, it was about a parking dispute. It may have been completely irrelevant that they were Muslim. Do you think that's true?
It could have been, could not have been. I don't know too much about this particular person, but if the person is saying that, oh, I hate all religions, and then they're going to go target a specific victim who are, it's not like this happened for the first time to Muslims, right? Exactly. So that's the thing. Like, if you see, like, Muslims tend to be a little bit more observant when it comes to their religion overall.
Not parking, though. I mean, that's not part of the Quran, is it?
No, I understand that, but I'm not. I wouldn't say that I know too much what was going on in the terrorists. I would call that person a terrorist for targeting. It is a hate crime to go after.
All right, let's talk about this.
Yes.
Terrorist has a specific definition.
Yes.
It's not violence in itself. It's not for the act in itself. It's what it does to other people.
Right.
I said this before on the show. My daughter lives in Paris. The day of the Charlie Hebdo massacre, I phoned her over and over again. Of course, it's a city of millions of people. Of course she's going to be okay, but I wanted to hear her voice to say, I'm okay, Dad. I was, I suppose, terrified. It was terrorism. I don't think this is terrorism. I think this is a crazy, idiot, lunatic who murdered people over a parking dispute.
The way you feel about your daughter, or you felt about her when that was happening in Paris, is exactly how I felt about my Muslim friends in the U.S. or Muslim friends everywhere. That's what I feel in general. This is something I posted on my Facebook wall today. I said that I have to be very vigilant when I go out because I have gotten death threats for being an atheist who rejected Islam. You know, that's not something unheard of, but I've been getting death threats for that. I have to be careful about hate crimes because I'm a brown woman, and
really?
I know. Yes,
when was the last
absolutely.
When's the last time you were threatened for being brown?
Racism is a very, very real thing, and anybody who denies that there is no racism in this part of the world has clearly not been outside of their own comfort zone.
You've just made a very, very basic philosophical error. You've thrown in something. No, please. You've thrown in something which no one has said or even referred to or even implied. I've never said there's no such thing as racism. Only a fool or a very white person in the suburbs would say there's no racism. What you said was you have faced death threats for being a brown woman.
I find that hard to believe. I said I have faced death threats for being an atheist who rejected Islam. I have to be very careful about being brown and being outside. Yes, I do. Really? Certain places I do.
Really? That's really news to me, because I tell you why. My wife is a brown woman, and she's never encountered that.
I went to school in Indiana for 4 years. In Indiana, in Richmond. It's a very, very white town, very white community. I went outside to Jay County, a neighboring county to where my school was, and I went there for a Christmas dinner at a friend's place, and his entire family had, like, little kids. They had never seen a colored person in their entire life, right?
So you sound like Benedict Cumberbatch. I think we say people of color. Okay, let's move on from this. I'm sure you'll survive. The kids have never seen someone from South Asia. We'll survive it. Look, the issue here is that some lunatic, some grotesque lunatic with a gun murders innocent people. What do we construe from that? I construe from that a grotesque lunatic has killed innocent people. Others are saying it's a hate crime. Who did he hate? Did he hate all Muslims? Or did he hate the people next to him who were apparently abusing his parking authority or something like this? Does this say anything about the host nation's attitude towards Muslim people? See, I'll give you what I think is a beautiful story, and one that's entirely typical. After I think it was the second attack, when a Canadian soldier was murdered by someone who converted to Islam, a mosque was defaced with graffiti just outside of Calgary. Within 24 hours, a group of people had gathered together, one of them a soldier, an off-duty soldier, to make sure the graffiti was removed.
Yeah, I know that.
And this has been repeated and replicated whenever this has happened.
Yes.
The reaction of non-Muslims is generally gracious
yes.
and loving and forgiving. We know it's not all Muslims.
No, I absolutely agree. And I'm not comparing the reaction of most Western non-Muslims, the way they react to hate crimes. And I'm not comparing that to the completely oblivious, sometimes oblivious nature of the response of a lot of atrocities that happen in Muslim countries or committed by Muslims. Like a lot of things go unnoticed, like there's Shia genocide going on in Pakistan. We don't hear outcry over the entire Muslim world about that, but these 3 Muslim people killed because they were killed by a white person, equally, it is horrible, terrible, terrible incident. But we hear a lot more outcries about this than the people who have been who are dying. And they're also Muslims, but they're just a different kind of Muslim, and you don't hear about the genocide. So I do agree that there is a very big difference between the way the civil societies of West act and those civil societies. But the reason that happens, there are a lot of things involved, and the biggest thing is that over here people have an idea of civil liberties, and they have basic understanding of constitutional freedoms and respect and tolerance. Now, in those societies, you have a lot of things that are responsible for intolerance, like religion is a big factor.
Really?
The mix of religion and state will always be terrible.
What gave us the Enlightenment, freedoms, notions of pluralism and coexistence? Do you think? Where do you think that came from?
Well, that came from actually opposing religious movements.
Who?
Like there was Spanish Inquisition. There were a lot of...
I'm saying that
the
Spanish Inquisition was 200 years before the Enlightenment.
Right, what I'm saying, yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That those things were the reason that pushed people to the limit. Yes, that is making any sense. That's making a lot of sense.
I'm not here to teach you anything that would be patronizing, but I have to... Hold on a minute, I have to say... No, don't go. I think you'll find there was quite a long hiatus between the Spanish Inquisition of the 16th century and the Enlightenment of the 18th. However, thank God you're safe and you can walk the streets, even though with great anxiety in Canada. I appreciate your time.
Are we done?
We're done.
Okay.
We were done 40 seconds ago, apparently.
Okay.